Your diet plays a role physically, mentally, and spiritually, and it says so in the Bible. And in today's episode, we're going to kind of dive into the fitness side of it, the health side of it, as well as some of the Bible, the biblical side of it as well. So the very first thing that I kind of came to mind that I wanted to talk about was fasting. You see, it's a hot topic in the side of nutrition, the side of fitness things that people think it's this magical weight loss tool, and people do some fasting or intermittent fasting, and that's why they lose fat and all these things. So on that side of it, what I want to speak on here, intermittent fasting is just a tool. It's just like anything else. It allows you to basically eat in a certain amount of window of time. It's really all it is. It's kind of restrictive eating, but not really, because you're just restricting time. You're not really restricting the food, so to speak. You just tend to eat less. Like, you'll be in a calorie deficit either way. No matter what it is, you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. But basically, this little restriction here helps you to stay in that deficit because you're focusing on a smaller amount of a window to eat. Therefore, you're not typically going to eat as much. That's where it comes in as being a tool. But that's really all it is. It's not some magical weight loss like journey, some magic thing. It's just a tool that helps you get there. So you see a lot of people approach the way of fasting kind of from the wrong sense. They're doing it in the wrong way. If it helps you, that's great. But a lot of people approach it just because they think it's some magical thing. And the best way that I can help you here, because it'll lower your calories, right? And some people fast for a day because it'll give them way less calories for that day, and then they get even lower under their number. But it shouldn't be that way. If you're going to fast, it should be for the spiritual sense. It should be for God and the sake of Christ. You're giving something up for Him. Fasting can be anything: your phone, a person, a place, a thing, whatever it is. But in this case, we're talking about food. So fasting from food should be in the spiritual sense as a sacrifice to Christ for what He did for you. But it shouldn't be for a calorie sake. If we look at scripture in Joel 2:12, it says, "Even now declares the Lord, return to me with all of your heart, with fasting and weeping and mourning." So in that part, it's talking about fasting. It's saying turn to Him and fast for Him in the sake of Him and His name. Or if you look at Acts 13:2 and 3, it says, while they were worshiping the Lord and fasting, the Holy Spirit said, set apart for me Barnabas and Saul for the work to which I have called them. So after they had fasted and prayed, they placed their hands on them and sent them off. So you see, they were fasting in honor of God. They were fasting to glorify God. They weren't just fasting for the sake of losing calories and losing fat. They were fasting for a reason, with a purpose behind it all. And this is something that I'm trying to be more mindful of. I have issues with fasting. I get migraines and I have some headache issues. And sometimes when I fast, like, I get like halfway through and I just start to get headaches and feel really lethargic. And I'm trying to work through that because I do want to honor God in a way of fasting. And even me, sometimes in the past, I used to be like, oh, it's an easy way to kind of cut the calories down even more. But that's why I'm kind of saying this now, is I don't want to do that either for myself, especially being a personal trainer. Like, that doesn't really look the best. But I've learned that fasting needs to be just for God and nothing else. But the problem, like I said, for me is I get headaches and things like that. So I'm trying to work through that and sort that out. But it is something that, you can be mindful of, and it's something that you can do for a 24-hour fast even, right? Like, think about it. Jesus went out and fasted for 40 days. 40. You can go a day. I mean, I'm speaking to myself too, right? Like, I guess it sounds like I'm being a hypocrite again. I get headaches. I try to get through it. And I usually sometimes get like 18, 20 hours, or like I'll eat in the morning and then let it go to the next morning. Sometimes I can get away with that. But if you really think about the grand scheme of things and everything with God, everything that Christ sacrificed, we can fast for a day in His glory. Now, if we get back to the fitness side of things, as far as health, diet, and nutrition go, I'm gonna kind of give some pointers here, some tips here on what I know and what I've found to work over the time. Is calorie deficit, like I said a little while ago, that's the way to lose fat. Basically means you need to eat less than you burn in a single day. It doesn't come from the workout side of things. So whatever you burn in a day, let's say it's 2,000 calories, you want to be eating, say, 1,500 calories. The best way to do it typically is around a 500 calorie deficit from your quote unquote maintenance, which you could find on Google. Just type in BMR calculator or TDEE calculator, and that'll help you figure out your activity levels and what you typically will burn on average in a day. And then you kind of play around with it from there. But the next thing to go with that is the scale. You can't use that as the end all be all. Looking at the scale number, again, it's a tool, but it can't be the only thing you go by. You got to look at how you look in the mirror, how you feel, how you sleep, how you perform, how you move. Are you getting stronger? Are your clothes fitting better? Are people commenting on things with you? There's a million different ways to see progress outside of that scale number. Because you see, sometimes, depending on where you are in your journey as far as weightlifting goes, which is what you should be prioritizing as far as the workout side goes, but when it comes to your diet and weight loss, you might be gaining a little bit of strength and muscle. So sometimes the weight might not go down, but you actually lost a little bit of fat. Or sometimes it's up a pound or two, but it's just water. And then you freak out and then you binge eat and then you go in reverse. That's not the way to do it. You have to have some patience here. You have to have a lot of consistency and you have to be moderate and balanced in what you're doing. Keep your fun foods. Please keep the fun in your life. I don't ever say to go drastic and eat chicken and rice or chicken and broccoli every single day of your life for every single meal, but you need to have a healthy balance here. If you're somebody who eats fast food half the time in a week, well, maybe cut it back a little bit or a lot of it, but dial it back in. Go for 80% to 90% of the time you're eating whole, nutritious, natural foods, like foods that have one ingredient, like chicken, beef, eggs, like rice, like one ingredient food, right? It doesn't come in a box. It doesn't come in a bag. It doesn't have 35 ingredients on it and half of the things you can't even pronounce. That is not what we want. That is processed food. That is what's keeping you fat. An excess of processed food makes you feel worse, makes you perform worse, makes you have more weight typically on you because they're designed to make you eat more. They get you going in a way that feels good. They taste amazing, so you want to keep eating them. So you're overeating in your calories. The biggest thing that I tell my clients in their weight loss journey and their diet side of it is you need to be honest with yourself here. So for instance, the one of the easiest things I can do here, because most people drink coffee, is how do you drink coffee? Because so many people will be like, oh, I have coffee every single day. But their coffee is extra cream, extra sugar with flavor shots inside of it. That's like 70, 80 plus grams of sugar in that one cup. That's 300, 400, 500 calories that you're not allotting for. Or you say you have a salad, but you're putting a heaping serving of dressing on top of it. That's another 200, 300, 400 calories right there. You say you have a salad and you're only counting the greens and the veggies and the chicken that's in it, but you're not counting the dressing. You have a burger, but you don't count the ketchup, mayonnaise, and everything you put on top of it. You see what I'm saying here? It's about being honest. I'm not saying you're purposely lying, but you need to learn to be honest with yourself the same way you would be honest with God, because if you're lying to yourself, you're lying to God. A little side note there. But when you're honest with yourself, it's going to help you be more on point with your diet, and you're going to see the results that much easier. Another piece of advice that I can give you is I know it gets tedious and it's annoying to track, but if you're not somebody who really knows what portions look like, the best thing I can tell you is to track. Measure things out and weigh them out and put them in an app like MyFitnessPal, even if it's for a week. I usually try to have my clients go 2 weeks here and do this, and it's a world of difference. After those 2 weeks, you get to really see what things look like, what they feel like, what portions actually are. And then from there, you're pretty good to go. Like, you can eyeball it from there on out. Most people do fine with this. And you're going to be in the top like 5% of how you eat right there. And that alone is going to make the world of difference to keep you on track and keep you seeing results and progress that you need. Case in point, one of my clients, she came to me the other day. She said, oh, I finally got a scale, a food scale, and started like really measuring everything out. I was measuring the rice, the chicken, this and that, everything else. She goes, wow, what I thought was an ounce or what I didn't think was an ounce, XYZ, there's a big difference. She goes, I thought I was having 500 calories and I was having like 800 calories in whatever serving she was talking about. It's very easy and quick to overconsume things. Portions aren't what you think, but you need to be mindful of this. So yes, tracking every single day, it's annoying. Trust me, I've done it. I live in this space and it sucks. It's freaking annoying. It's freaking tedious. But doing it for a very short amount of time, like anything in life, right? Like if you try to get something good out of it and it's not necessarily the most fun thing in the world, or you don't like doing it, but you know the results you're going to get from doing it, you're going to do it. So that's what it comes with as far as food tracking and measuring. Do it for a week or two. Suck it up and do it, because now you're going to be able to know what exactly everything is, what it looks like, what it weighs out to be, what the portions actually should be, and then you're good to go. Continue what it looks like, eyeball it. You're going to be able to go within a few calories of it. You're not going to have to worry about it, and you're going to be set. So get a food scale, go on Amazon, they're like $20, and then start tracking. Get MyFitnessPal. It's free. This isn't a plug. I'm not sponsored. It's just free. Use it. It's free. Do these two things alone, and that's going to make a world of difference. And if you pair, right, and part up and mix up all these things that I'm telling you, you're not really going to struggle. You're going to be good to go here. So calorie deficit, track your food for a week or two and measure it and weigh it out and see what portions look like. Be honest with yourself on what you're doing. If you want to have coffee, just be mindful of what you're putting in it, or find the healthier choice, or find the less sugary choice, whatever it is. And then again, back to the fasting part of it. Fast for the sake of Christ. Fast for the sake that you're giving something up for him, for his glory and his sacrifices that he did for us. But fasting for the sake of calories, don't do it that way. It's not going to work. It's not the best way to do it. It's not really the healthiest approach either. And the last part I want to talk about that can reference back to the Bible is gluttony. I'm a sucker for this one too. Trust me, it's something I still work on because I'm a glutton for some really good tasty foods like pizza or wings or cookies. I can overdo it from time to time. So this is not me preaching to the choir. This is me being honest with you and myself as well. It's something that I still work on because I can eat a little too much in one sitting of certain foods that I enjoy. But gluttony can be a sin. And the Bible speaks on this very thing, even when it comes to food, especially alcohol and drinks and things like that. But it even does mention food. I'm going to give you the verse in a minute. But this goes back to the honesty and the moderation and all of that as well, is have your fun, have everything, but don't be a glutton for it. Have a few chips, not the whole bag. Have a 2 or 3, Oreos instead of the whole sleeve, whatever it is. And if you look at Proverbs 23, 20, and 21, it says, do not join those who drink too much wine or gorge themselves on meat. For drunkards and gluttons become poor, and drowsiness clothes them in rags. It's basically saying that you break yourself down and you become poor, you become unhealthy in a sense. That's really what it's saying here. If you eat too much, drink too much, even if it's a good thing, like meat, it can still be bad. Anything too much of it is going to be bad. So it's moderation here. That's what it's really talking about. Or another one where people are glorifying food so much and you become so unhealthy and having an unhealthy relationship with food because everything is food. Everything ties back to food. Your parties, your ups, your down, whatever it is, it's food. That's also gluttony in a sense. And you need to try to stray away from that and have a healthy relationship with food. Use it as fuel. Yes, you can have some fun with it too here and there, like I said, the moderation, but for the most part of it, food should just be a fuel. Just like you put gas in your car to be able to drive your car, you want to eat the food that's best for you to fuel your body to perform, whether it's working out, sports, being a parent, being a worker, whatever it is. So if you look at Philippians 3:19, it says their destiny is destruction, their God is their stomach, and their glory is in their shame. Their mind is set to earthly things. So we're saying your God is your stomach because your stomach is driving you. You eat everything in sight. You want all the food. You tie everything back to food. So you're not worshiping God first. You're worshiping food first in a sense. And then the last bit of Bible verse I'll give you here is Proverbs 25:16, where it says, if you find honey, eat just enough, too much of it, and you will vomit. Think about it, like kids sometimes, right? They eat a bunch of candy, like Halloween or something like that. They get a bunch of candy. They eat too much of it. They get sick to their stomach and they start puking. Same thing here. Honey is good for you. Honey is great. But if you eat too much of it, you're not going to feel great. So again, it's moderation. So healthy habits and healthy ways of eating and everything else in your life dates all the way back to God, all the way to the beginning of creation from his word, where it tells you exactly what to do. God told them long before we were even here. God said, hey, moderation, eat healthy, be active, do the right thing, fast in the sake of me, and you'll be good to go. So hopefully this kind of helps you in some way and get you to understand things a little bit more on both sides of it here and how we can tie our diet to our faith and tie the two together and the importance of actually doing that together. If you do struggle with your diet and you're not sure exactly what you should be doing, what you should be eating, a workout routine to go with it, all of that, feel free to comment below and just say you're interested, or you can reach out to me in the links in my descriptions in my bios. Where you can work with me coaching. As like I've said every episode, I am a personal trainer. That's where this background is coming from. But I help many, many people lose weight, get stronger, all of that stuff. So if you do struggle with it and you want to work with me, reach out in the comments or in the description, like I said, and I'll be happy to see what I can do for you. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day, week, night, whatever it is, as always. And I appreciate everybody who's tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.